You know, when most of us see a problem, we look for a solution that's already out there. But what happens when there isn't a solution? When there's just nothing? Some people see that as a chance to build. This is the story of one of those people.
What does it really mean to build a legacy? It's not just about what you accomplish, right? It's about what you leave behind so that other people can build on top of it. And that question, well, it's at the very heart of this story.
This is the story of David Garrison. Now, on paper, he's a physicist, an administrator, an entrepreneur. But if you strip all that away, at his core, he's a builder. And his story starts with a challenge that seemed, well, pretty much impossible.
So let's start at the beginning, where we see how he built a nationally ranked physics program literally from nothing. Okay, get this. You've got a university right next door to NASA's Johnson Space Center, and it has no physics program. I mean, none. That was the giant empty space that David Garrison was brought in to fill.
And when he got there, he was it. The whole shebang. The entire full-time faculty for physical sciences was just one guy. A single professor tasked with building a whole program completely from scratch.
So where do you even start with a task that big? Well, his strategy was unconventional. Instead of starting with undergrads, he launched a master's program first. Why? He targeted the professionals who are already working in the local space industry. It was basically a startup move inside a university. Super smart.
And you know what? That gamble totally paid off. The program just exploded. And pretty soon, that one-person department grew to a full team of 6 full-time faculty members.
He didn't just build some program, he built an absolute powerhouse. It became the 7th highest producing master's-level physics program in the entire United States, according to the American Institute of Physics. And remember, all of that came from zero.
See, a real builder doesn't stop after one project, right? They start looking at the bigger picture, the whole system, and they find ways to make it work better and faster.
So picture this. The university is getting swamped with international applications, and the whole system is about to break. Who do they call? Garrison, of course. He took their old, slow, paper-based mess and digitized the whole thing. The result? He cut the processing time by a whopping 80%, from 2 weeks down to just 2 days.
And he didn't stop there. When a new, super complicated faculty policy was creating a massive logjam, he didn't wait around for a fix. He just built the solution himself, a custom calculator that automated the entire process. Suddenly, they went from just guessing what 90% of their faculty were doing to having 100% accurate tracking, just like that.
And then, well, 2020 happened. As everything went haywire, he was the one who stepped up to guide about 120 faculty members through that crazy sudden shift to online teaching, making sure the students didn't miss a beat.
And you gotta understand, as Associate Dean, he wasn't just some academic tinkering around. He was basically the general manager of a pretty big operation. I mean, look at these numbers. A budget of over $10 million, more than 200 employees, 2,000 students across 18 programs. This guy was building systems that could really scale.
But for a builder like him, it's never just about the big systems. The drive goes deeper, all the way down to the fundamental tools you need to ask the biggest questions of all. Like, how do you simulate the universe itself?
So when he wanted to study the cosmos, he didn't just download some off-the-shelf software. Nope, he went right back to basics and wrote his own numerical code from the ground up, the very engine that would power his research.
And of course, he didn't stop with the software. He needed the machine to run it on. So what did he do? You guessed it, he built that too. His very own high-performance computing cluster, often piecing it together with surplus gear he managed to find.
Okay, so you've got custom code running on a custom machine. What's the grand plan here? It was audacious. He wanted to create a detailed simulation of a slice of our universe, modeling its evolution from a critical moment, like a split second after the Big Bang, all the way to today.
And the payoff for all that work? It was incredible. His simulation, built with his code on his machine, it predicted something about the background hum of the universe, these gravitational waves. And get this, years later, actual experiments observed it. He built a model of reality that turned out to be right.
Now, you might think a guy like this would stay in the lab, but that builder's mindset, it just doesn't stay in one box. He co-founded a financial software company. He launched a medical spa, securing $800 in financing and pulling in over $400 a year. And today, he's the chief quantum officer for an AI startup. Wherever there's an opportunity, he builds. So that's the what. But the really interesting question is why? What is it that drives someone to build and then build some more? Well, this is where the story gets really personal. You see, David Garrison was the first in his family to graduate from college. He understands what it means to carve out a new path. And as one of the very few African-American computational physicists out there, he knows exactly what it feels like to be in spaces where not many people look like you.
And that's the key right there. That's why he doesn't just build things. He builds opportunities. He builds pathways for other people. He was the one who spearheaded the effort to join a big national program designed to help more students from diverse backgrounds get their physics PhDs.
And if you want to see the real legacy, the real thing he built, it all comes down to this number. That physics program, the one he started all by himself, it has now given almost 200 students the chance to earn a degree in physics. 200 people whose lives are now on a different trajectory. That is what a builder leaves behind.
So his story really brings it all back to us, doesn't it? Because in life, nothing's handed to you. There are always going to be empty spaces, always going to be problems without a clear solution. So the question he leaves us with is this: what are you going to build?